You're thinking about making a move here to the state of Utah, you probably want to know exactly what it's like living here and want to know what you can expect. Well, in today's video, I'm talking about 5 things that people wish they knew or regret about their move here to the state of Utah. Now let's get into it. Now, before we get into the first thing, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my future videos about everything you need to know about living here in the Salt Lake City area and the state of Utah. Now, the first thing that people usually regret or hate about living here in the state of Utah is the weather. So if you're from a state like California, you're used to that warm weather, used to like the warm winters. Utah, you can expect both ends, both extreme ends. So in the winter, we obviously get that very cold weather. We get lots of snow. For example, today it's middle of November. It's about 50 degrees outside, and we've got a little bit of snow here. We got a little bit of snow here earlier this week, but as you can see over there, the mountains already have some snow on them. It's been snowing up there, so we know that the cold weather is coming. So, like I said, in the winter we get really cold weather. And then in the summer, we also get that really hot weather where some days it can be 100 degrees, high 90s. And if you're doing outside, yard work, it almost can feel unbearable if it's something that you're not a huge fan of. So if you're coming from a warm place like, California, then you really have to know that you're going to really have some hot summer weather, and in the winter you're also going to have to get used to that really cold weather and be used to those snowstorms. Have to get used to shoveling your driveway and everything that comes with the winter weather. So I'm out here at a barbecue pit stop in Murray, Utah, just picking up some things to smoke a brisket here this weekend. But before we jump into number 2, we're going to take a quick break right now. If you're new here, my name is Marvin Alvarado, the Sneakerhead Realtor here in Salt Lake City, Utah. And I get calls and messages from people just like you every single day looking to make their move here to the state of Utah. And I love hearing from you guys. So if you're thinking about making a move here in the next 3 days, 3 months, or even a year from now, feel free to reach out to me. You can call me, text me, email me. You can also book a call with me down below. I look forward to hearing from you, and I look forward to helping you make your move to Utah as smooth as possible. Now let's continue with the video. But as we jump into number 2, that's the alcohol laws here in the state of Utah. So that's one of the things that a lot of people complain here about when they're moving from other states, is that the liquor laws here are a little bit different compared to other states. So in order to buy alcohol here, you have to go to the state liquor store to get the alcohol directly from them. So they're open Monday through Saturday. They're closed on Sundays. So if you're looking to buy alcohol for a holiday party, birthday, whatever the case may be, on Sunday, you have to make sure that you get it done before within their business days. Another thing is that you can't go to a grocery store and get it like you would in other cities or in other states. So it's very restrictive. It's not readily available. There are several liquor stores throughout the valley here in Salt Lake City. But like I said, it's not something that you can go to the grocery store and just be able to buy. Yeah, you're able to find some beers at a local grocery store and your local gas station. But if you're looking for anything else other than that, you do have to go to the state liquor store. Also, the alcohol contents are significantly less than other states. Also, if you're going to a bar or to a restaurant, the liquor contents of the drinks are very low, which is, like I said, it's something that people really do have an issue with and are frustrated about here, especially people that live here in the state of Utah and do consume alcohol. It's something that you hear about often, but it's something, if you're moving as an outsider to the state of Utah, it's something to remember that these are things you're going to have to deal with. You're going to be able to think ahead of time before you have a holiday party or a birthday party, to be able to be well prepared, because you're not going to be able to go last minute to the grocery store, especially if it's on a Sunday. But something to consider. Let's go jump in, and we'll jump into number 3 here in just a second. Now at number 3, and that's the cost of living. So a lot of people here moved here because of the cost of living. You could afford, a bigger house, for the price compared to other cities or other states. But the cost of living has gone up, pretty dramatically here in the last couple of years, along with the rest of the country here. But the days where you could find a single family home or a house for you and your family in the $200,000 price range they're not really available, right? So for example, my house that I first bought back in 2015, we bought that house for $265,000. Now, looking forward several years later, 2023, that same house is worth about $500,000 to $550,000. So that's gone up pretty significantly over the course of the last 7 years. And this also includes rent, right? My first apartment here, 2014-ish, we paid about $900 per month. That same apartment today is about $1,600 to $1,700, and it wasn't a very big apartment. It was a 1-bedroom, about 700 square feet. Not very big, right? But home prices, they've gone up significantly. So if you're looking for a single family house, the median price range is going to be about $550,000 here in Salt Lake County. Townhome you could probably find for $400,000 to $450,000, and then if you're looking for a condo, you're going to be able to probably find something in the $350,000 range. But like I said, prices have gone up significantly, and there's not looking like they're going to be dropping anytime soon. So cost of living is something you really have to consider. But before we jump into the next, I'm right here in the Jordan Parkway River. It's a little trail here that spans from about Salt Lake City down to the south side of the valley. They have a trail where you can bike, go for walks, but there's a river, as you can see here, that kind of flows through the valley. And it's just a really cool place to be able to kind of, go out for a walk. During the summer, during the winter, it's also open, so you can kind of, come here for a walk on those days where it's a little bit warmer. But it's something, that's really close by, and like I said, it spans through the valley, so you're not far from a trail like this, regardless of where you live. Now at number 4, that's the inversion. So that's the smog in the valley here in Salt Lake City. It's mostly affected here in the Salt Lake City area, but as you can see over to the east side of the mountain, the west side of the mountains, you can barely see the mountains over on that side. That's because the inversion is starting to build up here. So essentially that's bad air quality, and during the winter or colder days, that's when it really starts to affect the valley. So you have days where the air quality is really bad, and obviously if you have health issues, that in combination with the elevation here in Salt Lake City, which we're at about just over 4,200 feet above sea level, it can really affect your the way of living, your health, make it hard to breathe, and obviously those really bad days where the air quality is bad, they typically recommend that you don't go outside and do a whole lot of activities, just because, like I said, the bad air quality can really affect your health. But one of the things to keep in mind is that it's not constantly like that. It typically will build up over the course of a few days or a couple weeks, depending on the weather. But mostly we'll see this build up during the colder days or in the winter. But once a storm comes in, it'll kind of push that out, clears up the skies and clears up the air quality. But it's still something just to consider, especially if you're coming outside of the state of Utah. Maybe not something that you're going to be aware about, but it's something that people talk about frequently here. Now for number 5, we're back here in my office. And number 5, it's the outdoor activities. So a lot of people move here to the state of Utah because they want to have access to all the outdoor activities, all the national parks, the reservoirs here. But one of the things that people don't realize and kind of realize once they moved here is that obviously there's a lot of people that have moved here to the state of Utah in the last few years, and these places are really busy, right? There's a lot of people that show up there, so you really have to get there early to grab a spot. Like if you're, for example, if you're going to like Bear Lake or Jordanelle, You have to get there really early in the day to be able to grab a spot, or if you're going hiking to one of the trails, you're going to be, running into a lot of people. So there's a lot of people that are wanting to take advantage of all those outdoor activities, especially if you're going to like Moab and those really, national attractions or national parks that are famous. You're going to be running into crowds. So it's just not something that typically most people are going to expect, thinking that, if they move to the state of Utah, they're going to have access to all these activities, in their backyard, and they're going to be able to, to enjoy it by themselves. But they don't realize that these are, places that people travel to. They're tourist locations, and you're going to be running into crowds, right? Another example is like the ski resorts, right? We have some, massive ski resorts here, like Park City, the Canyons, Deer Valley. These are also places that if you're planning to go skiing or snowboarding in the winter, and you want to pick that up as a hobby, you're going to be running into large crowds. Obviously there's days that you can go that it's going to be less busy, but it's not something where you're going to have the place to yourself. You're going to be running into people. There's going to be crowds there, and it's just something that people, aren't going to typically expect or weren't aware about till once they're here, right? But either way, these are all things that you have to keep in mind, things that you have to know before making a move here to the state of Utah. Now, they're not deal breakers or anything like that, but at the end of the day, they're things you have to know. And who knows, some of these things could be deal breakers for you. But if you have any questions about what it's like living here in the state of Utah, or want to know more, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and leave me a comment. What else do you want to know? Otherwise, you can contact me. All my information is in the description. I look forward to hearing from you, and then I look forward to helping you make your move to the state of Utah as smooth as possible. I'll see you on the next one.